A New Horizon Chapter 1, The Promise of Opportunity. In 1946, the scars of World War II were evident across Britain. Cities lay in ruins, rationing continued, and the economy struggled to recover. Families like the Fletchers from Birmingham dreamed of a better life. For Arthur and Margaret Fletcher, the promise of Australia was like a beacon of hope. Arthur, a carpenter, and Margaret, a nurse, were enticed by government posters displaying sunny beaches, sprawling farmland, and the words "populate or perish." The Australian government, keen to bolster its population and workforce, had launched the Assisted Passage Scheme, offering British citizens subsidized travel to Australia. For just £10, families could begin anew in a land brimming with opportunity. These £10 POMs, as they came to be known, were assured a chance to thrive, provided they stayed in Australia for at least 2 years. Chapter 2. The Journey. In early 1947, the Fletchers boarded the SS Asturias, one of many ships transporting hopeful migrants. The voyage was long and arduous, taking 6 weeks. Cabins were cramped, meals repetitive, and seasickness common. Yet spirits were high. Children played games on the deck, and adults attended orientation sessions about life in Australia. Arthur befriended Tom Harper, a fellow carpenter from Liverpool, who shared tales of family members already settled in Sydney. Margaret bonded with young mothers, exchanging dreams of white picket fences and laughter-filled homes. While the journey was tough, the camaraderie among passengers softened the challenges. Chapter 3. Arrival in the Lucky Country. When the Fletchers arrived in Sydney, the sight of the iconic harbour and the vibrant city skyline filled them with awe. However, the reality of their new life soon set in. The family was housed in the Villawood Migrant Hostel, a former military barracks. Conditions were stark: shared facilities, thin walls, and limited privacy. Margaret often remarked that it felt like living in a glorified tin shed. Arthur quickly found work in a local timber yard, where his skills were in high demand. Margaret was recruited into the burgeoning public health system, working in a maternity ward. Both found the work hard but rewarding. Yet, they faced subtle cultural clashes. Australians referred to the British as "pommy bastards," and often teased them for their accents and mannerisms. The Fletchers learned to laugh off the jibes, determined to integrate into their new community. Chapter 4. Building a Life. By 1949, the Fletchers had saved enough to buy a modest home in the western suburbs of Sydney. Their 2 children, Emily and Jack, adapted quickly, adopting Australian slang and excelling at school. Arthur joined the local cricket club, while Margaret became active in the neighborhood women's group. Despite their progress, homesickness lingered. Letters from relatives back in Birmingham were bittersweet reminders of what they had left behind. Arthur often reflected on his decision, wondering if the sacrifice of leaving family was worth the new opportunities. Chapter 5. The Legacy. Over time, the Fletchers' roots in Australia deepened. Arthur started his own carpentry business, and Margaret became a respected figure in the local health community. Their children flourished, embracing their hybrid British-Australian identity. By the early 1950s, the Assisted Passage Scheme had brought hundreds of thousands of Britons to Australia, reshaping the nation's demographics and culture. The Fletchers were among the many who bridged the gap between 2 worlds, carrying the resilience of post-war Britain into the vast, untamed landscapes of Australia. Their story echoed the broader narrative of migration, one of hope, struggle, and ultimate transformation.